Thanks for joining us on Worldwide Slot Car Chat. This is number 117, and we're going to talk about slot cars. The gang is all here. I'm going to start off by saying that very recently I received another email from Google AdSense, so it's time to do another giveaway contest. So, as usual, this episode all of us will let some ideas tumble around in our brains for what $100 or so thing, slot car related. Doesn't have to be a car, doesn't have to be 132nd, doesn't have to be hard body, doesn't have, whatever, right? And I went through past contests. We've given away 1 Revo slot and 2 MR slot cars, as well as John Kitt's body kits and the magnetic racing buildings and stuff. So I love MR slot car, but maybe, if you guys want to do a car, maybe a different brand this time.
How about a sideways?
But yeah, just think about that. We're not going to decide now. In a little while, maybe between show and tell and Club Corner or whatever, we'll listen to those suggestions and take a vote. And then later on, we'll figure out how the people are going to enter what code word or key phrase or whatever they're going to use to enter for the contest in the comments of the YouTube video. Just like always, because it seems to work real well. So we normally begin with show and tell. I got a quick and easy one I'm going to start off with, but go ahead and raise your virtual hand if you want to participate in show and tell time. And mine, as I said, is quick and easy, and that's not the page I want to show. This is the page I want to show. I had a coil of braid, and it was always a pain in the butt to put it back in the spot in my slot car container of stuff without just turning it into a messy ball. So I designed a quick 3D printed dispenser for braid. Since posting it to Slot Forum, lots and lots of people have pointed out much easier and cheaper ways of dispensing braid, such as empty dental floss containers, and that some braid comes in a nice little dispenser. I was not privy to the fancy dispenser that some braid comes in. I just get a coil in a bag from Slot It or NSR. They don't come in dispensers. Don't want to stick it in a floss container. Doesn't fit in my slot box where it needs to go. So this was designed to go into the spot in my slot box where I was previously storing the braid. Quick and easy print. I'm not selling them, but if you buy something off of me, if you buy a 3D printed thing and want one, just say, hey, Greg, can I get one of those braid dispensers? The files are freely available up on Printables, which is the website I'm currently looking at, printables.com/, and I'll put the link into the chat and to the video description. So if you have access to a 3D printer, by all means, print away and enjoy. It is designed for 3mm wide braid, which is the Slot It racing braid or NSR racing braid width. And it's got a little hub that you kind of rewind it on. So if you pull out a bunch in order to snip off just the right amount, you can rewind it fairly easily without pushing it in or opening it up or whatever. Anyway,
build a handle on that.
I'm sorry?
You need to build a handle on that.
A little cranky handle? Yeah. That would complicate things, and I wanted to keep this as simple and thin as possible. But you can
put a window in it to see how much braid is in there?
That's not a bad idea. I'll
make one side clear.
I was going to say, you don't even have to make it clear or make it or put a window in. If you print if you print one of the halves with no top and bottom layers and an infill of a particular amount that's a straight through infill, like cubic or squares or any number of infill patterns that are visible through layers, then you would have an empty layer. So I'll make that quick modification and put that example up on but it's something easy to do. If you have a printer, you can easily change the settings to make one side or both sides see-through, so you can see how much is left in there before it disappears.
Now, Greg,
Good idea, Greg. Good idea.
Greg, back in the old days, you put a hole in the middle of it, stick a pencil in there, and crank it with the pencil like a cassette.
I could do a pencil-sized hexagonal hole to stick a pencil in, do like a cassette. That's not a bad idea. Was there any other comments or questions on that?
I think it's fine. I think it's fine like it is.
I think it's fine like it is, but putting a hole in the hub that's the pencil shape, that's easy enough to do and wouldn't change the total dimensions of the print. So I'll probably go ahead and do that. That was a good idea, John.
You know what, Greg? You should call it the Braid cassette.
There we go. As soon as I do that hole, we'll call it the Braid cassette. Maybe I'll make the hole have the things just like a cassette hub has. The pencil works, but it looks just like a cassette hub. Anyways, moving on to other show and tell. John had his hand up a long time ago. What do you want to show and tell today, John?
Well, I got 2 cars this week that I was really excited to get. There we go. There's one. That's a Porsche 911. These are both Carreras. This is the analog version. Very, very fun car. And very fast. I was amazed. This had the best set of tires on it I've ever gotten out of a Carrera car. And then this was its digital brother or sister or whatever gender. Another nice car. The tires also on this were very good, but not as good as the white one. But enjoy these 2.
Good looking cars. It's always nice when the stock rubber has good traction. So you don't.
Yeah, really. I mean, normally you think, well, whatever.
Yeah, it's like you already have things in your head to do to them to improve traction
Exactly.
or release them, but you put it on the track and it works good. So you're like, hey, cool.
Plus, I cleaned my track this week. I did an alcohol wash, which I heard from some people that works real lightly watered down alcohol. Let it dry, and then I dusted it, and we've had again construction in our house, so that real fine dust took it right off. So it was great.
So you're saying there's hope for Carrera?
I think so. They're starting to build some nice stuff. You know, I have a whole collection of their formula cars, but their flags, I forget what you technically call those.
Yeah, the guide shoes.
The guides are so far back that it makes it a little wonky.
Yeah, that's a well-known complaint about the Carrera.
Yeah. But anyway, these 2 Porsches are really nice.
Good stuff. Thanks for sharing, John. And Bill, you're next on my screen. What you want to share, Bill?
Okay. Well, so I showed this, I already shared this earlier in the Boone's Facebook page, or anyway, in terms of that, I've been working on this project. I think I updated you guys a couple of weeks ago on the snack bar project. And I've got the second draft, and it's come along a lot further. So I'll turn that around here. Bear with me on the shaking. And let's see.
That looks great.
Hand is a little shaky. Let me just set that down. There we go. And maybe.
Nice.
Yeah, so Tasty Freeze was when I was a little boy in Fort Benton, Montana. When the Tasty Freeze opened for the season, that was the coolest moment, in an 8-year-old's life, pretty much. And so that also is when the arcade games were also rolled out. And so loved myself some Tasty Freeze. This didn't completely represent the building by any means, but it was something that I could do. And the sign was actually probably the toughest part. And then let me see here.
Bill, how are you lighting that? Are those LEDs?
Yeah, I've got a couple of LEDs that I put on the inside, and there we go. You can see basically.
Yeah, I can see the menu. There you go.
Menus. I've got an OSHA warning over.
Now, sorry, I have to ask, do you have your 8-year-old prices, or does that add inflation?
Oh, these are current. I'm pretty sure. But yeah. Oh, yeah, that shows it pretty brightly there. You can see the lights are built in there, but I even, well, you can't really see that part particularly well, but the top where the lights come out and everything, I'm using the same piece of wood, but the laser is basically powered at different levels. And so I was able to essentially use the one piece of wood and then route in a channel for the wiring to run it to the back. So it ended up being a really nice piece of kind of flashing, or whatever you want to call it. And then, let's see, what else? Got the trim along the doorways here. Counter spaces, etc. Basically, I'm not very good at presenting these things. But you can see basically there a fair amount of detail for the first go around. Frank Peter Vandergort, John, you had kind of pointed him out, and so I've taken some insight from him. He provided some help with me in terms of scale, and the rest of the time it's just been kind of testing the laser cutter.
Well, Bill, you chose a really good consigliere because he does great work.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the Esso gas station is insane. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, have you seen this video then? Yeah.
oh yeah, it's beautiful. I've never seen such detail in a model. I'll never, I mean, it's an inspiration to anybody that's trying to build some of this stuff.
Well,
So-
he's actually, yeah, okay, well, you'll see that up close and personal soon, because apparently it's coming to North America. That's all I'm gonna
Bill, is
say.
that wood?
Good. Yeah. Well, quasi wood, it's MDF, but just 3mm MDF. It's essentially, I buy it. Well, I bought a pack of 20 of them for like $50. It was like 12 by 24 sheets, I think, or 20 by 24. I forget the measurements. Anyway, it's about $50. I burned through that in maybe a month and a half learning. What you see there is basically the usefulness. That's what came out of it. So
And when you say burn through, you're talking literally, right?
oh, literally in so many ways. There's so much junk, but I'm learning a lot in the process. And the next step I'm working on, or kind of moving on to the next project, is like a pedestrian bridge, and I'm trying to get some kind of I guess an inspiration for that. I was looking at, there's a bridge in Pittsburgh called the Mid Something Bridge. I forget what it is, but anyway, I'm looking for I'm basically going online, looking at pictures of those, and then I'll build the bridge based on that. That'll kind of lead into the layout of the track. So that's where it ties back into slot car racing. So
You need to add a couple ketchup and mustard bottles to that hot dog stand. It'd be perfect.
oh yeah. Oh, I'm planning on that. I have an air conditioner that I printed the other day on the 3D printer, and that'll go on there in some form. Oh, probably the best part. The box is one thing. The sign, I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go. You can see there, and that'll mount to the front. And
That is so cool.
And I mean, it's really, once you get it, the concept is really, if you've got any level of ability to draw, and I don't, you can do it. So, I mean, it's a very easy aspect, or an easy tool to learn. So definitely one of those things that really ties into the hobby nicely for me when I'm not just, putting the car on the track.
What software are you using for that?
I'm using Lightburn.
Yeah, see, I have a CNC router, wood router. I use Vectric.
Oh, I am looking forward. My next tool is going to be a CNC router. That's where I want to go with it. But yeah, I can only buy so many tools a year.
All right, well, thanks very much for sharing that, Bill. And
Yes.
do you have any further questions or comments for Bill before we move on? All right, hearing none, let's go to Alan. What are you going to share today, Alan?
Well, the old cabin fever set in yesterday. So in order to get through that, one goes to the slot shop. And I headed over, obviously, to the cases of cars that they have there. And I noticed he's got one case which is filled with nothing but SCX NASCARs. I mean, the whole case is just loaded with NASCARs. But what caught my eye yesterday was the fact that it looked like he had moved things around, like maybe, some new stock or something like that. So I started digging, and about 3 rows over and about 10 rows down, I came up with this little treasure.
Dorothy,
Oh, really?
Oh, that's a you got a CUDA.
It's an AAR CUDA
Great.
SCX, and it's analog. It's not digital.
Hey, hold on.
And as you can see, the screen behind me, I went ahead and found the prototype. And this was taken down to Daytona in 1975. The guy had it built supposedly by some part of Chrysler, and he didn't even qualify. And rumors got it that he took a ball peen hammer to the car when he got home. So that's my show and tell for today.
I never realized Homer Simpson tried to qualify at Daytona.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, great find. Those are, great looking cars, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a sharp looking car, and I was kind of comparing it to the prototype picture behind me, and it's spot on. It isn't missing a darn thing, except for one thing. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but see where it says AIG FA6 on the rear? On the rear fender side behind the rear wheel.
Let me see it.
Okay. It's the same thing on both sides. But I don't know if you can see it on the prototype or not, but it's reversed.
Oh, really?
Okay. The 6 is in front.
Show us the other side.
Yeah, the other side of the prototype is the 6 in the back.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's a mistake or not, but that's the only thing I could find that was considerably different about it.
Can we see the other side of the car?
Maybe it's my reversing. I don't know.
Other side?
The other side of the prototype car. The other
No,
side.
I don't have the picture.
So that
I've
It's
only
the
got
one in your-
that one side.
okay. So of the model, make it point the other way. Hold your model up. Hold your model up.
Okay.
There you go.
That looks accurate.
Okay. My dyslexia is kicking in.
What we don't know is if that side is the same as on the prototype car.
Yeah.
Alan,
Probably is.
You know what year that was? Not the original, but the car from SCX.
Yeah,
It
was
says 70.
No, that wasn't in 1970.
No.
He wants to know when the SCX car was released, right, John?
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's one of the earlier ones, not the re-release that Dave made happen. So
Yeah, that's one of the ones from like 10 years ago.
yeah, I was gonna say somewhere around.
I think I have the blue and
Yeah,
white
you
one.
scored.
Yeah, it was a good score. And they have independent
Really
front
good score.
wheels too, don't they?
Yep.
If
Yeah.
it was already, then yeah.
Are you gonna race that, Alan, or is that more of a shelf queen?
I'll probably destroy it. Yeah.
Looks
I'm,
great.
I'm looking for a
Looking
stock
car.
number.
Maybe I can make you a little 1/32 scale ball peen hammer you can hit it with.
Hey, that'll work. It's stock number 64870.
There you go. 64870. So for I was just gonna say, you've got the box, which obviously makes that easier. When I get a car and I don't have the box, what I usually do is I do a Google search for the make and type of car, and then I look at images only, and then I find the image that matches the car, and that usually will lead me to a page or a store or something like that that has the model number. So if you're ever wondering what the model number is on a car you've got, Google is your friend. All right, good stuff, Alan. Great find. And it looks like Don is up next. What's up, Don?
Well, I have a small story to tell tonight. I'm gonna do a screen share here. So get my. Pages. Of course, I end up not actually being ready, but anyway.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to get it back to the screen that I had up, and it's showing me everything except the one I was looking at, which is kind of frustrating.
You want me to move on and come back to you? Or
Yeah, yeah, go ahead to Neil next.
All right, Neil, what you got?
Okay, I got a few used eBay items, and this first one, Ferrari.
Oh, nice.
Is that
The right
pink-
color too.
Is that the pink car?
Looks like a Ninko.
Yeah. Let's see the bottom, Neil.
I'm not sure.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
pink car. The pink car, yeah.
Okay, I have a question because I have another one, a pink car. I never even heard of them. Are they old?
Yep.
Yep.
Old like me?
That
So the only thing is I changed the guide on it because the other ones are really, really tiny, and they weren't working really well on my track. So I changed that with a, I think that's a slot invasion. I also got this one here.
Oh, is that that's the GB or the Fly? Is that what it?
This is
That's a GD
GP,
track.
another company I never heard of.
That's Fly.
Oh, is that what it is? It's a Fly?
Yeah.
Wasn't it
Yeah.
Fly had import issues, so they had to switch the name
Yeah.
to Great British Track or something.
V track. Yep.
That car is one of my best cars when I race in that Fly Classics because
Yep.
it's got the independent back end on it. It's not tied to the frame.
They are quick. It's kind of cool in the back. You can't see it though. Got a lot of
Oh
detail
yeah, there you go. Yeah, you can see the springs and the
in
exhaust.
the
Yeah.
engine. Yeah. I thought it was kind of cool because it almost looks like back in the day, you know, because it's so flat and wide. It's almost like a thingy, you know.
Mhm.
And I thought it would run well, but I haven't tried it yet.
Porsche
Also-
917 PA.
Oh,
Yep.
MRRC
Oh.
Chaparral. Nice.
Yep. So that came out pretty nice.
Yeah, check the tires that they haven't flat spotted or gone hard because they go off really quick.
Well, I plan on changing them anyway.
And what brand was that?
This was,
MRRC.
yes. Exactly.
Boy, this week is like all about old new stock, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
Then
Neil
I got,
is learning that there's dozens of slot car companies that came and went.
yes, I'm finding this out. But it's okay too, because even if they weren't really in great shape, I'm basically, you know, I would just reuse the body, that's all.
Mhm.
So this is another one.
Oh, that's a
This
front motor Fly. That's they're fun.
This is a Fly.
Fun.
Fun. Well, we'll see.
Big F fun.
And my favorite, because I used to own one of these, this color.
Yeah, that's the
This is-
Scalextrics. That's nice.
Yeah, this is really, really pretty car.
Is that another front motor?
Yep.
Fun.
Yep. But the body is impeccable for a used car.
Doesn't look like it was used very much, Neil.
No. I maybe they just labeled it used because I don't know, because I got it like this without a cover. So
I mean, take it off the base and you can look at the braids and the tires.
Yeah.
That'll tell you whether or not it's used. The braids are
You tend to find a lot of front motored cars that are not used a whole bunch.
For a reason, I'm sure, right? I'll find that out. Yeah, so it doesn't look like it was used at all.
No. Probably ran around the track once and they said, nope, not going to drive this.
Yeah. No. Again, that's okay because this is one gorgeous car.
Yep.
So that's all I got.
Probably a 3D printed chassis you could get for it.
Wow. So did you go to the
Can
same
you do
hobby?
that?
Did you guys go to the same hobby store, or like how'd you score that stuff?
On eBay.
It is really big, yeah.
You got to stay up late at night. You find the ones that are going to go off at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, just remember to not be drinking because you might put in a bid that you regret later on.
Well, other than the Corvette,
How do you know, Greg?
Yeah, I've got a Swedish girl that lives with me now, but that happened.
All right, thanks for sharing, Neil. And Don, are you ready to go?
Yep, I got it together.
Take it away.
I was working on a project this last Saturday when all of a sudden I came across something that I thought was gone. It was this box.
Oh, wow.
In this box was this car.
Oh, that's an Eldon jalopy or something, wasn't it? Didn't they sort of like it was like a demolition derby or something?
Yeah.
Yes, and there was that. Then you remember me, John, talking about the chaparral that I used to have that got lost in the fire?
Yeah.
Well, this is it. I didn't lose it.
Hey, fantastic.
This is the only car I have ever raced on a wood track. For maybe a total of 5 minutes, I was not even able to get it all the way around the track. But anyway.
I think the driver needs a neurosurgeon.
This we're talking was 30 years ago. This is the chassis that's on it.
Wow.
I was quite surprised. It's still in very, very good shape.
So that's a Cox chassis on a Mark's body.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not the original chassis on that.
Now, that car, I originally traded my white HO scale Aurora Mustang convertible for this car without the motor, without good tires on the rear of it, and for a broken Aurora hot rod body. In 1966, I did nothing with this car until 1992, when I had some spare parts that I traded the guy that owned the wood track to put the motor in it and some tires on the back of it. He let me run it around the track. And then it went back in the box. Then this is another car that was in the box.
Oh, yeah, it was another Eldon. That's their attempt at a 2C.
Oh, that's their attempt at a chaparral.
Yeah, a Chaparral 2C, yeah.
And a Ford J. And then there was this. Now this would be great if what was inside of it looked as good as the box did, but it don't.
People will pay good money for that box.
Oh, they will, yes. And then this car was in there.
Yeah.
And for an Eldon, this is actually a really nice looking car. But, and then there was that. Now, back in that same time zone, I was mostly into the HO scale cars. And Tommy was just starting to release these type of cars with these liveries on them, which, you know, is quite much better than what the original Aurora used to put on their cars. But the thing is, as soon as I really got involved in all this crap, I moved to Cincinnati and I couldn't find nothing up there to, amazingly enough. Yes, that's right. Then there was this car and another one of those. And then there was this tray of cars, which goes back to HO that I thought was gone, which these are my row cars. This is an original Aurora over here. This is an American line Rolls Royce. And these are the Tommy versions of theirs from the early 90s. And then there was this box. Now, in this box, all of these chassis that you see can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Those are brand spanking new closed rivet Aurora Thunderjet chassis that I was buying back in 1990 for $2 a piece, brand new, from the little hobby shop that was there in Radcliffe, Kentucky. But
It looks like you got a Cobra body up there too, Don.
a Cobra.
Yeah, right there.
Oh yeah, that's a Lexan body that I painted. I'll pull that out in a minute. I really didn't take a picture of that specifically. Now, this right here is a brand new set of Tiger HO Racing axle and silicone tires. I haven't even ever seen these on eBay for sale. There are probably some out there, I just haven't ever seen them. Now, does anybody recognize this?
Mm-hmm.
Is that an Auto World chassis?
No.
No.
What is it? So I don't know HO very well. Sorry.
AFX.
It's an AFX, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's a Super 2 chassis. And I mean all Super 2. Tires, armature plate, magnets. The only thing that isn't an original Super 2 on this are the pickup shoes, because they sucked. You couldn't keep the car on the track. They had a braid soldered to them, and all it did was just keep the front end of the car out of the track. But this particular Super 2 is different. And what's different is it has 4 extra traction magnets in it. One here, one here, one here, and one here. This car will actually stay to the track, but it draws so much juice to make it go, it's unbelievable.
Right.
And then there was this also.
That's the Auto World sweeper, isn't it?
Yes, well, remember I showed you the white one. Well, this is the red one. And this one is a functional one. And I had a stack of those, which is nothing special, but that's basically just another close-up of some of the other stuff. But that's my slideshow for the evening.
So a nice little treasure of thought to be lost slot car stuff.
Well, you got to remember that box, everything you saw in that box survived 2 fires. The first time.
Where was it? You should, that's where you want to put everything, apparently.
Well, those black trays that you saw, those were originally Aurora Deluxe pit boxes. But the boxes themselves were so deformed that I just took the trays out of them and what was in them and threw them away, because, you know, there was a lot of stuff that was just absolutely totally destroyed. So there wasn't any point in keeping it.
Well, congratulations on finding that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that chaparral, really, of all the things in there, you know, it broke my heart the most when I couldn't find that car. And I can't really say why, because it's really nothing special. The chassis on it's good, but the body is junk. So
Special
we
meaning.
can move along.
Special meaning is special meaning. You know, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
Explained. So awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for sharing, Don. And next up, I've got Dewann. What you want to talk about today, Dewann?
Oh yeah. Am I unmuted? Yes, I am. I think I talked last week a little bit about that the race coordinator. I was doing a little project when I got introduced to it, to the flexibility of taking and getting some of the digital features out of an analog race management application. And my project was really creating drivers. Well, the feature that they had was allowing you to put the audio files to have audio prompts and things like that associated with each driver. And so let me see if I get this up. It was the launch update. What is this? What is that? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we do.
Yep.
Okay, because I got a weird screen that popped up saying unable to launch update installer. Okay. Anyway, these are the way you customize the audio files for the drivers. And it was a very tedious process. You have to go in there the first time around, have to go in there, record a name for each person, the specific saying, Javier is the heat leader, etc., things like that. The ones that I modified was strictly I only did the ones that I was interested in. So it was his first 7, and then the pit lane, the pit in audio file. And what I ended up doing is finding I think Jeremy suggested looking into a text-to-speech engine and incorporating that. And so I found a nice little public domain text-to-speech engine called Balboa, I think is what it's called. And that, switch over to another screen here. This other one's going. And oh boy, what happened? I created, basically I used the text-to-speech engine and wrote a batch file that literally automated the whole process of, let me bring it up real quick here. There it is. Now I'm really like the screen share. Oops. On the screen, on the share right screen, did I? Are you seeing my screen?
Now we can see your desktop.
Okay, that's not what I want.
Just leave it there. Just leave it there. Click OK on whatever that message is, and then bring up whatever you want to show us. We should be able to see pretty much everything you do.
Yes, though. I have two screens.
Oh, okay.
I'll just move it over. That's okay. It works. So that's the app that I created. I don't know if you see can you see that?
No.
There.
Now we can.
Now we can see it.
Okay. There's just a little batch file that goes and runs this Balboa text-to-speech engine and creates a special file for each one of the. Basically, I just take the batch file. It's called new driver. I just put something like new driver Greg, and it would go and then run all these apps and create voice prompts for each one of those apps automatically. And then go and run a SQL script to go to the race coordinator's database and create a new driver for that under that same name, and then import all these scripts in the right place, so that I could instantly add somebody. It would take me about literally 5 minutes per person or so. Maybe no, probably take more than that, close to 10 minutes per person doing it manually. And that's where I could go and do a whole series of people in about 10. I could do probably 50 people in 10 minutes. And because I have over 100 drivers on my list now. And so just a nice little way to automate it. So I'm documenting this, and I'm going to be posting on slot form. this is customized for my special files and where I have things located, so they'll have to customize it that way. And I was creating a little video to kind of demonstrate how it worked, and I put a little link in there if anybody wants to go and see the video demo of running a couple of the, I can stop this now, running the race coordinator application with the inserting of audio files and see how the fueling and all that stuff works. So I know that Russ last week was asking about considering new race management applications. And so I think you can run that and get a good idea of what it can do. That's it.
I'll put those links are in the description below. So if you want to check Dewann's race coordinator customized sound making process, and definitely looking forward to your forum posts. So next week definitely come back and tell us where to find the information so somebody can follow along.
Yeah, definitely interested in seeing the progress. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Dewann before we move on?
And I was just going to say, one of the nice things is when you're driving in a large group of 12 people and it says, driver 3 is low on fuel. Instead, it would say Jeremy is low on fuel. And it's easier for me to hear my own name than remember am I driver 4? What am I? So that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
And I never did it because it was such a pain in the butt. So it's great that you've done this work. That saves me a ton of time.
Yeah.
I'll send you the files. You can try it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it looks like basically with your scripts and macros and whatnot, all you got to do is type in the name that you want it to do, and then it basically churns through using a speech-to-text editor, creates WAV files, and then edits the database so you don't even have to go in there and pick and choose all the files. It puts it in there. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, good stuff. Thank you again, Dewann. And Mike put his hand up. What you want to share today, Mike?
Well, sorry.
Disappeared on us.
Remember last week I was talking about this Aurora?
Yeah, that was wow. And you've got the track and the cars you were saying.
Well, I don't have the cars with me right now. I don't know where I put them, but I just happened to think about, but I do have one of the original controllers, which has a sensitivity adjustment on it. And it's an Aurora controller.
Yeah, that looks like a replacement from an Aurora HO controller.
Could be.
Yeah, because I think the originals, remember, had a plunger in the back.
Well, there's one of the things that came with it is a Cox controller. This one.
That's cool.
John, Aurora did make that other controller that he showed.
Yeah, they did. But I think they were only in HO sets. I don't think they were put in that I think they called them A-Jet sets.
I do have some of the chassis, however.
Oh, they look almost brand new.
Yeah. It looks like they've got aftermarket wheels on them, though.
Well, the kidney bean shaped ones are from Aurora.
Oh, okay. And I think this is the GTO chassis.
Yeah, those look aftermarket.
Yeah, they could be. And these too.
Right. Yeah, the first one you showed with the kidney bean cutouts, those were Aurora wheels for sure.
Okay. I think that's the chassis from the 4GT by the adjustment. But it's got a original style 4GT and a GTO and a Mustang. And I'll have to dig the bodies up there somewhere in here. But I just happened to think about that from last week a little while ago. And I do have the track too. This is the Aurora track.
Yeah, they made that's really nice track.
Is it?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's here. If anybody wants it. I have absolutely no use for it. I got it from a friend and who no longer is doing anything. And maybe someone somewhere along the line can use it.
Are you keeping anything from the set? Keeping the bodies or?
Well, I thought about keeping the bodies. But, you know, it depends. I have lots of cars to play with. So, you know, the chances of me getting around to doing chassis for them and stuff like that is, you know, years. I'll probably die before they get the chassis done.
Well, you should try at least getting one car running around your track and see how it goes.
That's true. I could do that. You know, just bolt up the 4GT or something like that and see how it moves. But it would be interesting.
Yeah, might as well. I'm curious how hard the tires are.
Oh, they're cracked like you wouldn't believe. I mean, probably it would take them off, and some of them still have tread on them.
If they're hard as rock, then.
Yeah, they're hard as rock and lifted up on one side like they don't fit the wheels right, and so it's yeah, nobody trued them for sure.
All right. Well, that's always a fun curiosity to see. It looks like Mike's, that's you. So it looks like we're done with show and tell. So
one more.
Go ahead, Chris.
You'll be somewhat interested in this. I've had a couple of spare days. Come on, baby. A little more.
You really need to update from that Commodore 64.
Come on, he's got. Oh, working on the interior. That looks nice.
Oh, that's looking good for the Porsche, Chris. Awesome.
Yeah, the interiors. I couldn't use the interior, so I just made a flat cardstock interior. It's got the dashboard that you supplied, John. I had to cut down that and modify that and put some little gauges in. That's a pin, that's a shift lever. I sourced around in my 43rd scale decals and found Jackie X decals for his helmet.
Wow, that looks great.
These are headlight lenses that luckily enough fit the buckets on the lower valence of the Porsche 935 and look way better than anything that's painted. I took I drilled out all the molded in gas caps and stuff on the car. They never look good to me and they're hard to paint. So I made some new gas caps and I just stuck those on little plates, and these will be glued underneath the bodies to fill the holes. The mirrors, there was no mirrors supplied. So I looked at tons and tons of pictures and I found some mirrors that came off a Porsche 91730, which are almost identical to the ones on the 935. So that's fine. This little piece, I hacked out the front grill, and there's a piece of mesh going in there. And then I had to make a windshield wiper. I didn't have anything that came close to fitting. Then I started cutting. So the front screen is gone. No one's allowed to say this looks rough or this is, because this is a first coat of primer just to see where everything is and how much work I've got to do. So I still got to clean up some area here. The vents have to be cleaned out a bit. Drilled a hole for my windshield wiper, drilled holes for the side mirrors, put the wing on, and I've done some rough sanding.
So it's looking good. It's looking great, Chris.
Well, it'll be, it's gonna be okay. So here's Jackie sitting in the car. I managed to get both of his key lines, one on the bottom and around his visor. You can't really see it, but even in person, it's hard to see it's Jackie X, but it is. It does say Jackie X.
That looks awesome.
So lots of work. Once you put the primer on, you can really see what you need to clean up. So all the shut, I've done a fair bit of work on this shut line. I've now with the primer, I've got to refix this up again. All the bits and pieces are just sitting on here, Greg. The mirrors will have to, they're in holes right now. So when they're glued in, they'll come up and they'll be painted. Rear wings on. I've just, the two rear vents on the back of the car, I've just put masking tape over them now. Because they have a mesh sort of texture to them. And if I put too much paint on, I'll lose all that. So I'll just tape those over for now. And at the end, I'll pull that off and repaint those. I was going to open this one and this one up, but having looked, I'm a little suspect there's not going to be enough meat there and it might be a little bit weak. So you're not getting those opened up.
I like those wheels and tires.
Yeah. They're going to look cool. I'm not sure. You might want to do a separate set, Greg, of like racing tires as opposed to just sit on the shelf, look at me tires.
I mean, I don't need to have the maker on the sidewall, so I'm happy.
Yeah, no. I mean, it might be just nice to like do a whole set of rear wheels with some BBS inserts just for running around, because these look cool. They're not going to have great grip. Just not going to happen. And this is a neat, I actually like this picture.
If you didn't like the previous pictures, then I'm preparing to be. Oh man.
Oh,
So there's another. So the body has to be thinned out a little bit here to allow these the caps to come up a little bit, but they'll fill in there. Again, the mirrors are just bolted. They're just sitting in holes. They're not aligned. You can just see one of the lights down here. I've taken another picture to show you that. They're going to look really cool. There's some little clear plastic lenses that are going to go over the top. And then Jackie's sitting in the car. And then lastly,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, those are little headlight lenses sitting in there in the buckets. So that
Yeah.
looks way better than a bit of silver paint. And again, no comments on this isn't straight. I know it's not straight. It will be straight. You think you've got a bunch of stuff straight until you put the primer on and really look at it closely and realize you don't have it straight. So I will get all that done for you. I'm sort of a bit worried about the glass on this. The glass is a bit frosted. It's not all that clear. So I'm going to try and sand it all down and recoat it and re-clear it and see what's going to be done. And, you know, obviously a lot of work to be done on the thing, but I think it'll be fine. The front valence here is going to be an orangey red color. But I'm not going to do any of that until I get the decals, because I'm not sure what the orange red on the decal is going to look like. So I'll try my best to match the paint on the bottom splitter with what's going on here. But so far, not bad. I haven't figured out what to do for rear tail lights yet. I'm not really overwhelmed with what's on the body, so I'm not sure if I'll try and make some out of clear plastic and then cut the back of the body out and do whatever. So anyway, that is my work for the last few days.
Well, I can't thank you enough for, first of all, being willing to take on that project, but also using your spare time. Again, no rush. Iceman is dealing with some issues, but it sent me an email, you know, saying although he's dealing with these things, he's still planning to work on it as a distraction from the issues that he's dealing with. So he's definitely still working on the decals. So, you know, we'll make sure that you get them as soon as they're ready. And again, you know, no timeline.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, looking at the body and where it is and stuff like that, I've got some work left to do. So it's
if it gets any better than that, I mean, shit. I'm going to complain about anything. I mean, so far it looks awesome. So it can only
Well,
get.
the best thing by far, my favorite piece out of this whole thing, I didn't even have a picture of, but the coolest thing,
Cassie?
is that up?
Not yet. No. There it is.
Okay. The coolest thing is this little exhaust pipe thing that I built here. I cut out the rear valence on the kit. And these are two little pieces of brass tubing. And I've got this stuff called black in it, which if you soak brass or different kinds of metals in it, it makes it look like a really weathered steel exhaust pipe. They really look cool. So these two little things that are about 1/8 of an inch long that you basically won't be able to see almost when they're on the car. That's my favorite part so far. So
that's awesome. And I love that you created a windshield wiper. I mean, how did you even make that? With some styrene? Or?
Well, I had a broken thing with a little peg, and then I had to drill a hole. Like all the windshield wipers were either that I had were all way too short or way too long. So I had to cut a little hole in here, and then I put in a little piece of styrene tube, and then glued a very, very small strip of styrene on there, and put another piece of styrene strip on the top for the wind deflector to hold the windshield wiper onto the thing. And so
Chris, was the windshield wiper that I cast not included, or was it just that bad?
I did not get a windshield wiper.
Oh, okay. Well,
I got the dashboard, which you can't really see it here, but I had to slice the dashboard down.
Yeah, because it's built for a full interior, and
it was too
yeah.
high, and it would have lowered this base plate down a bit too low.
Yep.
I did use your seat. It's hard to see, but I cut like 1/4 inch of the seat off, so you can see it wrapping around his arms and comes up here. I put some little nylon seat belts on for him, and a hinge on his visor, and a few other little things. So the interior really looks cool. It's a really cool looking thing.
And I'm happy with a pan interior. I've never needed it.
Yeah. Oh, I was absolutely overjoyed when I found Jackie Hicks decals for his helmet. That made the whole thing for me. So I was pretty happy about that. Anyway, there you go.
Awesome. And again, thank you very much for working on that project, and looking forward to more updates on that. Mr. Weber, did you have a show and tell, or were you going to praise Chris just like me?
He's upside down.
He's upside down. You turn your camera upside down. I can't hear you. Your microphone's not muted, but you're super, super quiet.
Okay. I haven't changed anything about the camera, but let's see.
He's going to his head.
Nobody else talk, because we get to hear Mr. Weber talk. Go ahead, John.
I found on eBay a 1/32 scale diecast of a Mazda 1974 Mazda RX-3. That I think that would be a really cool slot car. We fit in with a lot of the
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna talk over you. So you found a really cool diecast of, I'm guessing, this red car that we're looking at.
Right.
That you think would be a really good slot car. Apparently nobody's making that as a slot car.
Apparently not. No one is. This is made by a company, brand name called JDM. They come in, like most diecasts, they come in a little box. And it's, as you can see, that's a Scalectric 1969 Z28 Camaro. And this is a 1974 Mazda RX-3 that was raced sort of in this fashion in Japan, in their, I can't remember what they call it, GT Touring or Grand Touring or something like that. They had a class. Toyota and Honda and everybody, all the big Japanese manufacturers raced cars in that class. Of course, they were built up. And these were really cool rotary engine racers before RX-7s came out. And they used a twin rotor engine similar to RX-7, but not as sophisticated. I think it's carbureted instead of fuel injected, something to that effect. Anyway, I think I'm going to try to see what it takes to get John Kitt to help me make a body kit.
Put your knee pads on.
No problem. No problem.
See if I can find another picture here.
I'm guessing it was probably the JGTC class, basically Japanese touring cars. You know, obviously throughout the years.
No, that's not working either. Okay. Sorry. Let's see here. Not there.
What brand die cast is it, by chance, John?
They're called JDM.
JDM? Okay.
Be like beta.
And let's see if I have a picture. Here's a picture of one of the race cars. The real cars. That's another thing. So some of the, I think it has good bones. It's a little on the heavy looking side. Some of the wheel flares, fender flares are a little overdone, but you know, I can live with that because you're going to need bigger wheels anyway. So anyway, I just thought it would be a really cool car to show up with at the track and take on the Datsun 510s and Alfa Romeo GTAs and stuff like that. So that's all I have. Thank you.
It's definitely a cool looking car. I've never seen it before, but it looks pretty cool. So if you guys don't already have a way to communicate, maybe John, put your email down there so Mr. Weber can communicate, or vice versa, so you guys can email each other about maybe working on that together. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about what people are going to win in the contest giveaway. So does anybody have any ideas? Go ahead and unmute and battle it out. What do we got?
Well, I mentioned the sideways cars.
Sideways what?
Any of them. Actually, the newer GT cars, if you want to do those.
Okay, sideways GT.
Or the Group 5s.
For that new Castrol they have, McLaren, that was a pretty nice car.
Oh, I've got that one. That is a wonderful car. It won me a race this week.
Is that a Lambo?
No,
I think it's a
McLaren
Castrol. It's like white with green, red.
Okay, so we got.
I'll get it.
McLaren, the Castrol sideways GT McLaren. Does anybody else have any suggestions?
Oh, you spoke about Ninco Classics. Do you have any extras of those? I mean, they're hard to find, so it might be kind of fun to get a rare car like that.
I got them from probably has a few, so that's not a good suggestion. Okay, yeah, I got that written down, Mike. So a Ninco Classic of some sort. Ninco Classic.
What's this prize for, Greg?
This is because I get money from ad revenue on my YouTube channel, and this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Contributing towards that, so I'm paying it back, however you want to think about it.
Okay.
Basically, we have up to approximately $100 to spend on a prize of some slot car related thing. Garth is holding up. I'm assuming that's the Ferrari. I'm not sorry, not Ferrari, but the slotted.
12.
I'm blanking out here.
512M. Ferrari 512M. The new one.
That one's pretty much sold out everywhere. So we need to find things that are available. But I'll go ahead and put it on the list.
That's really sold out everywhere?
It's super hot.
Yeah, just about.
It's going to be hard to find. I mean, I'm sure Electric Dreams has it for $200, but otherwise it's going to be hard to find.
Wow,
Sorry, which car was that?
The slotted
Ferrari 512M that's slotted.
Oh,
just-
really? Wow.
How about some of those Scale Auto or SRC cars?
I mean, something in addition to the brand would be helpful.
Okay.
Those companies.
Are you talking about the LMP cars?
That Toyota LMP they make, that's hard to find, I think.
Yes.
Those Thunder Slot Lolas are nice.
Dave
Yeah.
Kinsey was highlighting some cars yesterday or today. All scale autos.
Scale Auto, what?
Yeah, he had about 8 of them that he highlighted that just came out, and it's for really good high-end cars. That
So GTs.
he had GTs, he had some F1s, he had some medals.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think you said most of those cars weren't going to be available.
I know.
Everybody shut up for a second. I don't want to hit the mute button. Like, I love that you guys are just throwing out brands. we gotta whittle it down a little bit here. If you want to suggest a specific brand, go ahead and suggest the specific car, at the very least, a class of car. So like Scale Auto, modern F1, that's a good suggestion. Scale Auto as a whole, not helpful.
How about a Pioneer Legend?
Pioneer Legend. Okay, we have plenty of suggestions. I'm going to go ahead and add Scale Auto F1 and Pioneer Legends to the list. So currently my list, this is already way more than we need, so you can stop suggesting. Save it for next time, because in a couple of months I'll probably do this all over again. So currently we have the Sideways GT McLaren, Castrol livery, any Ninco Classic, slotted Ferrari 512, an SRC LMP of some sort, Scale Auto F1, and Pioneer Legends. I'm going to just take off the SRC because that's way too vague.
Quick thing, any Ninco Classic, except for that stupid front motor Jaguar, because that's punishment on
I was
somebody.
going to say any NC1.
Yeah, there you go.
Any NC1. Okay, so the question is, do we take the vote now or do we take the vote in a little bit? Do we got any club corner? If you want to do a club corner, raise your hand and I'll judge whether we're going to go straight to voting or not. Mike, you got a club corner? Or you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to get back and do racing again, but I encountered my glitch and I was all ready to ask you to help me out with that afterwards, but it appears that the computer is the problem, because I swapped the computers out and everything works fine. And I had the same thing where I would press the brake button, it wouldn't fuel. And, but both the damage and tires would rotate. So the lane change button worked, and it indicated on the computer that the brake button was being pressed, but nothing happened. It wouldn't fuel. And then this morning I swapped computers out and tried it, and everything was fine with the new computer. And so far I haven't been able to test it. I had problems with it kicking out after about 5 minutes, but I tried it for a 75 lap race on my own and it seemed to be fine. So we'll see. But we got back to racing this week and I scored 3 races in a row. So that was great for me.
And it wasn't the computer glitches giving you that upper hand.
Well, what we did is no, it wasn't. What we had to do was eliminate the fuel, and we still had damage. But if we hit the 5 points of damage, you would press the button to activate it and it would clear it instantly. It would not take any time to do it. It wouldn't count down. So it was a very odd thing. And so I don't know what the mechanism is, but it's clearly a computer glitch, because I swapped back and tried to do it and it wouldn't even work at all. So there's something in the interface between the computer that I was using for the software and the track itself that was causing the problem.
And when you were having the glitches with the other computer, you would have them while you were just testing by yourself, or only when you guys are racing?
Well, I don't usually use fuel when I'm testing. So, that it's not an issue then. It would only happen on race day when we were using fuel to test out. And it would come and go periodically. So, there was no indication that, I tried making connections with the pit area to see what was going on. And I thought one time that fixed it. One time shutting off the computer and starting over again cured it. So it's like, okay, it was kind of phantom. But this time it went down to a point that it wouldn't work at all now. So it's like, okay, time to let the computer go and go find another one for it. Right now I'm using my current laptop, and if that stays on long enough that we can run a 125 lap race, which I'm going to try this afternoon, we'll see what happens. Because when I initially started it, it would kick off the system and not allow me to keep going for more than about 5 minutes. And clearly I had about 12 minutes today doing it. So hopefully, fingers crossed.
What was kicking off?
It would, it's been a while, but as I remember, it would shut the program down after 5 minutes. Like there was like it wasn't compatible with the computer itself. There's something in there that was shutting the USB port off. That's the only thing I can think of that was causing it. But and I remember we discussed it, so I quit using the computer and went back to the old one. And now the old one's crap. So
well, on the new one, be sure you're running. I assume we're talking about RCS 64.
Yes, correct.
So make sure you're running it as administrator, and make sure you set the latency down to 1 instead of the default.
Yep.
Yeah. And always run it as administrator to make sure that the program is treated with the highest priorities.
Well, I had done that before and it still did it. So I'm, like I said, fingers crossed now. We'll see what happened. But there's been updates into the software in the computer itself since then. So it may be that it just doesn't, it works now. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna call my other friend Mike to come and race with me during the week here and just do a 125 lapper and see if it works okay. Otherwise, you may get a call.
I mean, the software is not, it's deprecated, right? So they're not working on it anymore. So
yeah,
at this point, whatever you try is whatever I would try. So
well, you might have to give me ideas since I'm a little short on those.
All right. Well, anytime.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Jeremy, did you have something? I saw your hand real quick. Okay. Anybody else got any club corner they want to talk about, past, present, or future racing activities with more than one person? Anything qualifies? All right, hearing none, let's go ahead and vote on the cars. And again, I will remind everybody that the selection now is, and you can, when I start taking votes, you can vote for more than one car, right? So vote for whichever ones of the 5 you think are worthy of being a prize. And we're going to take the one that has the most votes. So the options are sideways McLaren, Inco Classics with an NC1, slotted Ferrari 512 if we can find one, Scale Auto F1, Modern F1, and Pioneer Legends. Okay, so those are the 5 choices. Now we're going to actually vote. So if you have a camera, turn it on, because I'd rather just count like people holding up their hands. But you can, if you don't want to turn your camera on, that's fine. Put a virtual hand up. Okay. So the first one, we're just going to go down the list. So if you think that the sideways McLaren should be the prize, raise your virtual and or human hand, and I will start counting hands.
Vote more than once?
You can vote more than once. You can vote for on all 5, but that would be silly. Obviously, vote for the 1, 2, or 3, or whatever you think need to be winning. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 8. I'll be right back. Okay, next one is the Ninco Classics. Any Ninco Classic with an NC1 motor, go ahead and raise your real or virtual hand for that, and I'll count that up. All right, keep the hands up because things are moving around. John decided he wanted to go ahead and vote for Ninco Classics, so I'm starting the count over again. Hold your hand up, and I'll make sure to catch you. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to vote for Ninco Classics. So 7, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Probably not the Ninco Classic. All right, next up is the slotted Ferrari 512. If you want that to be the winner, raise your real or virtual hand. All right, John's making sure I know to count him.
Yeah, Garth, you already have one.
4, 5, 6, 7. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got a tie, but we can take another vote. Let me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, yeah. We'll re-vote for any ties.
You want to check the prices first, or make sure you can get one or the other?
$100 or less, I'm fine. All right. Next up is a Scale Auto F1. So modern F1 from the Scale Auto brand. Raise real or virtual hands, and I'll start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I got 4 on that. Sorry, Scale Auto F1 people. And then finally, Pioneer Legends. Raise your virtual or real hand for Pioneer Legends. Seriously, Brian?
Well, you tried, Neil.
All right, 1 for Pioneer Legends. All right, well, okay, so it's not going to be Pioneer Legends, Ninco Classics, or Scale Auto F1. Now we have to choose between Sideways McLaren or slotted Ferrari 512. This time you can only vote for 1. So think about it. Do you want it to be the slotted Ferrari 512 or the Sideways McLaren? Okay, all in favor of it being the Sideways McLaren, raise your hand. Keep them up. If you don't want to do a virtual hand or a real hand, say, I'm raising my hand. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. I'm guessing it's going to be the slotted, but now put your hands down. Raise them back up if you want it to be the slotted Ferrari 512. Yeah, I'm not going to bother counting. The slotted wins. Okay, so now we need to find an available slotted Ferrari 512. So if anybody out there, now to the people entering this contest, this is international. So if you have a local hobby store that has the 512 in stock, go ahead and email me straight away so I can put that stuff on lockdown. You know, I don't know. Anyways, we're going to actually pull the winners next week, so hopefully it'll still be available next week.
I think the Sunoco liveried one is supposed to come out in a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months. So not soon enough for so yeah, if we can,
LEB says that they're getting get more stock.
Okay, cool. So well, I'll look at LEB when the time comes. But again, this is international. So if I have to ship from the States, that's fine. If you have a local hobby store in Zimbabwe or wherever you're from, if you win the contest, if they have it, I'll buy it from there and ship it from there to you. So slotted Ferrari 512. That is going to be the prize. Now we've got slightly less than 40 minutes to come up with the word or key phrase or whatever the case may be that we want people to use when entering the contest. But we're not going to talk about it right now. We're going to wait for later. So all done with the vote. The prize has been decided. The floor is open since we're done with Club Corner. Does anybody have any questions they want to bring up or things they want to talk about? Go ahead, Jeremy.
Has anybody 3D printed the tire truer that's on Thingiverse? Just curious. What I guess
I printed that for one of my club members.
What did you use for the spur gear? It's like 2 mm. I was afraid that if I use the plastic ones, they'll just melt. So
I had to reprint the moving parts in PETG.
yeah, and it held up fine.
It held up fine. I had to print the frame. I had to reprint the frame in PETG too because the motor got warm enough to soften the frame.
Okay.
Basically anything that wasn't melting,
yeah,
in PETG, but I didn't need to do anything more advanced than PETG. So,
okay.
The stuff that is not spinning or frictioning against anything, or the frame, can be PLA, but PETG seems to work for everything else. He hasn't complained about it, and he's been using it for several months now.
Cool. All right.
Well, that was quick.
Well, I was hoping somebody would knew like how to get that in metal, like a brass. I don't know. I'll keep looking for that part.
I've seen it's just a pulley, right?
Yeah, it's just a V channel with a O-ring, a giant O-ring on it. But it's 2 mm shaft. That's the problem I'm having. That's okay. I'll keep looking, but if nobody else has done it.
Does the tire razor pulley that's meant to go on the axle that you're truing, I think that goes on a 2 mm axle just fine. So you can probably use that. You can actually buy that pulley. I've seen that as a spare part still available through like
where?
You can't get the tire razor, but you can get the pulley.
Okay, I'll take a look and see what they got. That's a good idea.
As far as I know,
somebody else suggested taking like one of the old Parma front wheels that has a O-ring on it, and it might be small enough to hook on there. I don't know. All right. Thanks.
That seems to be working. I printed everything in PLA at first.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dumbass.
Hey, I am too.
he went ahead and put it together, and he's like, "Yeah, Greg, these got warm." Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
So then I printed everything. It softened up. I printed in PETG, and he hasn't complained since, including that. So.
Okay.
Give it a try. All right, John's got his hand up. What you want to talk about, John? And then we'll get to Dewann. Mr. Weber, your hand is still up. You want me to put down?
That's an accident. Sorry.
Down now. All right, Dewann, you're good to go.
I was curious. I'm going to be building some more light bridges for the lap counters and things like that for different tracks that we put together. Has anyone used using any of the pedestrian bridges or gantry type things that they've morphed and used also as part of the light bridge? Is that a common thing that's been done? I was kind of considering it. So Dunlop bridge and just
on my old track, I used the Dunlop bridge and I just put LED light strip underneath it. But that's back when I was just using photo resistors for my sensors. When I switched to LEDs, then you'd probably have to start doing a little more measuring. But I mean, it's possible. But I would look at the wooden ones that guy we were just talking about earlier, or maybe he makes those wooden ones. Yes. Talk to him and tell him what your spacing is, and he might be able to just laser cut that for you.
Yeah, I saw that. That was one of the top considerations. Yeah. Okay.
Is there a specific reason you want to go with a bridge?
I was just I have to put another I have to just more infrared lights. So I just figured I'd just see if I could knock out two things at one time. That's all.
I think Chris meant, is there a reason you're going with a light bridge as opposed to dead strips? Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't considered dead strip. Yeah. I considered it a while back, but I'm familiar with and I'm happy with the performance of the LED of the infrared lights.
How do you do pit stops with strips? Can you do that?
You can do it. That's fine.
You have to do 2 dead strips or something like that. So yeah, I guess that's one advantage to lights.
It has to stop underneath the bridge to break the light.
Can you do a light? Can you do a dead live strip? Can you?
You could have like several dead strips, like when you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But no, but then you would have no power.
You'd have to make sure the dead strips stop on a dead strip, unless there was some way to relay the dead strip after you've stopped on it. Yeah, that sounds too complicated. It looked like you had a light bridge working in your video that you posted.
Oh yeah, I have that. That's ongoing, but I have 2 more to make up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as long right. So
You see my video?
yeah, I'm subscribed.
Yeah, I watched it.
So the you know, as long as you have something to hold the lights up, you absolutely can dual purpose the thing that holds the lights up. Use a pedestrian bridge for sure.
And the other concern was I got those big Carrera trucks. I don't think I'm making any of those.
Make sure it's tall enough.
Yeah, and I imagine, Dewann, for some 1/24th scale cars too, you have to make sure you have clearance as well, right?
Yeah, sure.
That was the whole reason I made those gimbals, was because I had to move my track up, or my bridge up 4 inches for the trucks to clear.
Yeah.
And then the laser wouldn't find. So I was like, oh, so that's why I came up with that.
Yeah. So you could probably get Jeremy to print up gimbals for you. Stick those.
Yeah, we've already worked that part out.
Yeah. As I say, remember, you're using the same technology that goes across your garage door to block when you walk through it. I mean, it's basically the same laser, so you can go as far as you want, but it's just the further higher you get, the harder you gotta get that beam more juice.
And aimed correctly.
And aimed, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sounds like you guys have something to talk about. And all right. Well, again, the floor is still open. We've got half an hour to waste, or I can hit the stop button and you guys can just idly chit chat about random non-slot related things. Guys, we can go ahead and talk about. Let's go ahead and waste a few minutes talking about how someone enters the contest. So while your juices are flowing for other topics, how does somebody enter the contest? We're gonna. Don is showing off his cars, but right now we're gonna go ahead and choose the thing that people put into the comments to win the slot at Ferrari 512.
How about some reference to text to speech, seeing as Dewann did so much work in that area?
Anybody got any ideas on how to work that in? Mr. Segway, John Kitt, come on.
How about everybody submit a Mega Millions lottery ticket?
The actual ticket to me.
You can send them to me and I'll check them.
Okay, make sure they're winners before you send them to me.
Osco.
Right.
Osco.
Okay, so not Costco or Mega Millions, but so John suggested some kind of
Yeah, or use the word speech. How about that?
Any other suggestions? Everybody's like, yeah, that's good enough. Okay, so
Yeah. Well, I got one actually. Something with Le Mans, since it was a Le Mans car.
Oh yeah, I like that.
And maybe Enzo.
Enzo.
There you go.
Well, should we make him use the word Enzo or Le Mans?
Yeah.
I say Le Mans. That's a challenge.
Make them use both. Just drive them nuts.
So we'll say one or the other, and you will impress people if you use both. But as long as you use
Already got it.
either Enzo or Le Mans or both in your comment, make sure your comment includes Le Mans. That's L-E, capital L, lowercase e, space, capital M-A-N-S. Enzo is E-N-Z-O, correct? All right. So either Le Mans or Enzo or both in your comment, and you will be officially entered to win the slot at Ferrari 512, which will be shipped to you internationally at my expense, because I'm just a generous person. So put that in the comments of the YouTube video, not whatever forum you're watching this video on, or whatever Facebook group or page you're watching this video on. Click the video, go to the comments, put your comment in the comments. All right, we've decided, I have spoken. Now the floor is open again, and we still have half an hour to waste. Anybody got?
Since John brought up the I guess the subject of die casts that would be great as 1/32 scale slot cars, does anyone else have any other suggestions or desires in that area?
Yeah, any obscure cars that don't exist as slot cars?
Honker.
Honkers?
Okay, yeah, the honker. So here's a question, Chris. Now, the Airfix kit, which is pretty close to 1/32 scale.
Mm-hmm.
Would you prefer one that is scale accurate or one that is 1/32 scale ish?
Modified.
Yeah, ish.
Ish. Yeah, that okay.
Ish. Yeah, you don't want to be crazy, but it's a pretty narrow car in real life. I've
That,
seen it.
exactly. That's why I asked. I mean, the whole idea of that car was to reduce the frontal area as much as possible. And the Airfix kit is really pretty accurate.
There's a lot of really nice 24 scale ones around.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I specifically mentioned 132nd. Yeah, but that's a good
Yeah,
point.
no. I'm just saying there are.
John, do you have a list of all the cars you have? Like in,
I actually do. Yeah.
like, is that on a website somewhere we can look at?
Well, no, but you know what? I should publish that. That's a really good point because I've been asked that a few times because there's, you know, models that my daughter did and some that I did that
Yeah.
I've got molds for. Yeah.
Speaking
Who's
of,
looking for the honker?
do you want to see a honker?
Or who was looking for one?
Mr. Walker.
Well, I just finished one for someone, if you want to see it.
What's
No,
a honk?
I thought somebody just said they were looking for one.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Now that's 1/24th scale, Chris.
Yeah.
Well, the reason I ask is I'll make the file if somebody wants it.
Oh, you got a honker 3D print file?
Yeah, let's get the screen back.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, right here.
Nice.
Well, that turned out. How did you get that to be so round like that, Steve? That's a beautiful print.
Yeah, it's a good file.
Master at 3D printing slot cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve,
So
where do I
anyway-
go to find it? Like, is there a group or something to join where people share these? I mean, don't say it out loud if you don't want to.
Yes and no. Just send me a message on HRW. And I'll send-
Now, here's the question, Steve. Is that more of like an Airfix sort of close to scale, or is it a sort of 1/32nd scale ish kind of scale?
It's dead on 1/32.
Beautiful,
That's
beautiful.
correct.
You're Racer 1H on HRW, right?
Yes. Here's another one that file that's just about to be available,
Ooh.
Oh, Scarab, nice.
Oh, nice.
which you can't find anywhere. You know, that'll be up or available pretty quick. And again,
Why you hold back on the show and tell, Steve? Come on, man.
What chassis is that?
Segment just for this kind of stuff.
and then there's an Aston Martin's that's just coming out too.
Where's
What
this
chassis-
coming out?
What chassis
What-
are you using?
They're all 3D printed.
Look at you.
Oh, and that looks like a front motor. That looks nice.
No, is this one front? No, the motor's in the back. I just cut that hole up. That was a
Oh,
test.
sorry.
But for the class, we run at 10 volts for these in stock tires. So they all got little motors in them in different configurations.
Are you resin printing these?
No, PLA.
That's a filament print right there, buddy.
That's amazing.
That looks amazing. Now, does it take a lot of work to sort of smooth it out, or is that the way it comes off the printer, Steve?
That's how they come off. Here's one that came off today. Hasn't been touched.
Oh my.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's just beautiful.
You know, so there's really pull out the insides and really very little sanding.
Well, I'm out of business now. Nice knowing you folks.
Steve, do you
No,
have
they're-
a cheetah body by any chance?
Pardon?
Do you have a cheetah body by any chance?
Yeah, I do. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, I just finished this rare one.
Oh, the Crow South spec. Yeah. Now, I got to ask though, Brian, would you not want to use a Strombecker or like even a Carrera body instead?
Not when I have a 3D printer and Steve makes files like this. No.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I forgot. Sorry.
Most of these files, I make a few. There's a group, so you just got to send me messages. That's all there is to it. You know, like the Scarab will eventually be up on Cults. Not yet. The Aston will eventually be up on Cults at most. The main guy that did those files will be selling them for $10, so big deal. So these are you're looking at the test prints because I do the test prints and see how they come out, and these are fine. They come from all over the place. If you
I know someone who might be looking for a Mazda RX-3.
Okay. If you go to the 2022 Can-Am 3D printed proxy, I mean, it'd be nice if you guys entered it, but I know you're not involved in that part of it. But there's a list there, for instance, of all the Can-Am files that are readily available. There's about 30 of them. All our files you can't buy, okay, such as the honker and so on. And so there, if you just go there, you'll see a list of everything you can readily get right now, you know, that we know work. For instance, I'm going to enter this, you know, in the proxy, you know, the Ferrari.
Yeah, 712.
Yeah, and this flared out McLaren, you know, it was going to be the entry, which actually existed when.
Oh no!
Oh, the government shut him down. They finally caught up to him.
Guy with the cannon on it.
Video for the first there, Steve.
The weird shadow nobody wanted to drive.
Somebody,
Everybody kind of remembers that one, and so on. Anyway,
they had the DN1 at Road America, the orange one.
yeah, yeah. He only brought 2 shadows. The guy's from Wisconsin. He actually owns 5. Yeah, he actually owns 5 shadows.
Yep.
One got destroyed last year in the rebuild.
Year
Yeah,
before.
but this is the one you saw at Road America.
Yep.
Yep.
And the later one.
Yeah.
The 102.
Before. You saw that one.
Yeah. That one. That one took all the marbles.
Yeah. Well,
It's incredibly fast.
There's nothing like them.
Did you attend?
I didn't make it this year. There weren't enough Can-Am cars. It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years like that now. Last year there were only 4.
Yeah.
I was going to come this year. I was actually sold my car and bought another good road car, and you know, was anxious to bring it, you know, drive it there. But there were just so few Can-Am cars. We didn't go. There were 3 of us that were going to go. 3 years ago, we traded. We traded my Cobra there when it was the Cobra. You know, the reunion where they had 35 of them.
That was I think 5 years ago.
4 or 5. You're right. It was just pre-COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
go there every year, just about, because my kid lives in Wisconsin, and my sister.
best track in the country to watch cars.
Yeah, that's what my track is based on.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine's based on the original concept where they ran basically the country roads and then through town, no runoffs and all that, you know, just the roads. And then eventually they bought a hunk of land, built the pit area, still ran the country roads around through town. And then they bought all that land, you know, and turned it into a wonderful track. Yeah.
Which link do I click on, Steve?
Pardon?
This is the HRW 3D forum.
Okay. You want the entry thread? I'm looking right at it.
No, you want the rules. The rules.
Oh yeah,
thread.
you want the rules thread. You're right. I'm sorry. You have to go down to proxies, way down into the proxy section.
What about this one?
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Are the cars listed on that one? I don't remember. I don't think so. Maybe they are. They should. No, we should have seen them.
Yeah, you figured it would have been in the first post.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll
Well, I put the link to this sub forum into the chat and then the description, so you can go here and find. But this is basically the HRW 3D forum sub forum. So this is where you go to see some super awesome 3D printed slot cars by Steve and other people. The 3D printed slot car proxies that they're doing. Go here. Don't ask me. I do not print slot cars. Go bug Steve and Happy Man and Kevin and the other people in this forum who are actually doing that stuff, because obviously they are just killing it with those prints.
Have you ever tried to do it, Greg?
I mean, I printed Brian's stiletto. It's not that I can't do it; it's just that I have no desire. So
Greg doesn't want to build them.
I don't want to build them. Yeah, and the only reason I haven't showed off the stiletto project is because I just don't have the same parts that fit. Well, so I'll have to either adjust the model or buy new parts to put it together. So that's kind of my desire to do that kind of fell short as well. All right, what you got there, Alan? Is this your latest 3D work? You're
nice.
Probably muted. Yeah, you're muted, buddy. I asked you to unmute. Hopefully, there you go.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I started this about 2 days ago and debuted it on the 143rd forum. But again, I do it in full scale, so I'll be able to print it out in any scale.
Sure.
You mostly do your present, right?
What did you start from?
This particular one was a 3D scan, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got built a scanner, I guess about 2 years ago. It's open source. It's called Open Scan.
Okay.
And with a lot of modifications to it and a hell of a lot of trial and error.
I'm sure.
I'm finally getting some decent scans out of it that are
Boy,
that are
good for you.
workable.
Well, that looks nice.
Thank you.
That looks nice.
And that's after lots and lots of hours of cleaning up.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'm working on this, and you've already seen the Corvair and Stinger, and I've probably got around 120 hours in that Corvair Stinger already.
Sure.
It mounts up.
Yes, it does.
Is it 1/43 also?
Well, once you have it, you can do any size you want it.
Yeah, I do it in what I do is this particular one was a 1/64th die cast.
Wow, that's small.
Okay. And I pulled that in, and then from there, I scale it up to full scale.
So you scanned the 1/64th?
Yes.
That's impressive.
I can do it with the open scan.
Boy, that's impressive.
When you
What
say
I've
full
got to
scale,
do is I
when you say
take
full
about,
scale-
I do about 150 shots,
Okay.
and then I take 3 separate scans of that.
Okay.
And then I merge the 3 together to get a better cloud point.
Wow.
And then from there, it's just a labor of love. a lot of beer and a lot of coffee.
We get
Is
most. We get
is
most
this
of our
1-to-1 scale
starts-
then? Right now, what I'm looking at, is this 1-to-1 scale, like the actual car? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
That's huge.
My printer's not that big.
Well, it doesn't. It
Well,
doesn't.
no, that's in the application.
Yeah, and
Okay.
you make sure all the dimensions are accurate. You stretch and pull and
Yeah.
as necessary, and then you do all your tweaking, and then you scale it down to 1/24 or 1/23 or 1/23 or
Yeah, whatever I desire to go ahead and do.
Here was the last file we just added. The Lola.
The Lola.
Yeah.
Nice.
those look fantastic. And I'm sure that the forum is a good place to go for suggestions on post-processing, because I understand that you don't put a whole lot of work into it, but you've got to have some tips and tricks for making it look that good.
Yeah, I mean, go back a couple of years, it was a ton of work. I mean, we just got, the files got better, and I mean, we were when COVID, these things pulled a group of about 7 of us through COVID. That's how it really got going. Is all of a sudden there was COVID, You know, we couldn't race every Thursday night. You know, none of us quite knew what to do with ourselves. A couple of us and tagged in with some other people around the world, basically. And one of them who was pretty good at making files, not very good, but better than we were. And we all kind of went through it together, you know, up over the COVID 2 years, as we call it. I think I built over those 2 years, 70 some Can-Am cars, you know, that I never laid out, none of us had ever had a model of, or could, nor could we get one, and, you know, type thing. But, you know, retired, and here we were in the middle of COVID, isolated in the houses. And now it's kind of, you know, it's summer, you know, in summer you play with your real cars and race the sailboats and do that kind of stuff, but you still play up here a little bit, you know. Here comes and it'll all jump start again. Everybody's just gotten so much better and the files are better. I mean, look what you just saw, that Camaro. I mean, you couldn't have found anybody in the slot car world making anything similar to that, I don't think, 3 years ago, let alone if they made it thinking of using it for a slot car. You know, that's nice.
Yeah, this is one that I outsourced, basically from the same guy. I think that you've got some stuff with, Steve.
Nimrod? Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
He's a wizard. He's an
Yes, he is.
absolute wizard.
Well, that's where it really kind of all began. I ran across him and I wanted a model of the Shadow. I'd gotten pretty tight with the owner and there was no way to get a Shadow. And I didn't have a 3D printer either. And I ran into him. We started talking and FaceTiming and so on, Skyping. And he was very good on computer work, but he didn't know exactly what he was doing here. The first Shadow files, which were the very first files from him, by the way, were horrible. But
Yep.
now he's remade those, and of course this is what he does now. And I mean, we all learned together. And I learned how to make them smooth and look good and print them. He learned how to make the files way beyond the rest of us. And obviously you're pretty damn good at it too.
Yeah. Well, Chappie's deep into it too, isn't he?
Yeah, Chappie's one of the people that races here.
Yeah.
Chappie's just down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I'll have to, it's, I came over a couple times to your place, but then took seriously ill. I had a heart issue, but then what caught up with me again was I started spray painting. And to make a long story short, it was about, maybe 15 years ago, maybe longer than that. I was doing a lot of spray painting for a model railroad company, Overland. And I was doing a lot of custom painting of his locomotives and cabooses and so forth. And lessons learned, stupidity on my part. But what I was doing is I wasn't using gloves and I wasn't using a mask.
Huh.
I had not good. Long story short, my blood got tainted.
Alan, you were down in Chaska, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm still there.
I couldn't. Okay, it took me a while. Where are
Yeah.
you now?
I'm sorry?
Where are you now?
I'm still in Chaska.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. But I took ill. And again, when I started working with lacquer-based paints, it didn't take long for me to get sick again.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had to back off. That's why I've been kind of staying to myself, Steve. But
Okay.
I'm pretty well over that now.
I always wondered.
Yeah. Well, you haven't moved, right?
Not yet.
Okay. You're still doing Thursday?
Every night, every Thursday.
Okay. Don't be a bit surprised if I come walking up the stairs.
Send me an email.
Yeah, will do. Has anybody ever seen Steve's track? I imagine some of you had. It's fabulous.
Yeah, he's done some show and tell of his track in the past.
Yeah. It's a super track. You recently put the analog switch in, right?
Digital analog, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we run both now.
good, good.
We run digital, a couple of races, and then we switch to analog for the rest of the night.
What are you using for a race app?
Pardon?
What race app are you using?
There were two of you talking.
Alan, go ahead.
What race app are you using for timing?
What's the name? The free one on HRW that, what's his name has? I forget the name.
Bruce's
For the
for digital.
Yeah, for the digital. Yeah.
RMS. And then for analog,
Yes.
you use slot track.
Correct.
You started, your
Correct.
track was analog, and you'd been using slot track, and then when you still use slot track for analog, and when you added digital, you use Bruce's HSS RMS for digital stuff.
Correct. Thanks, Greg. That's right.
And Mr. Weber had a question.
Yeah, I think it would be a really cool, maybe sub show or whatever you want to call it, I'm sorry.
Just showing off tracks.
Yeah, particularly some of the fellows that you guys know, some of us newbies have not seen that.
Okay.
Some of the really cool tracks, and I'm sure your perspective on your building of that track and running cars now on it may be different than they were.
You need to go watch the old shows, John. You're just slacking. You need to go back to the old shows and start catching back up again.
116 to go.
116 shows to catch up.
John, go Google Minneapolis slot car tracks, and you will see a site for a Minneapolis slot car track, which is exactly what the website is. There's a big website of the track up that we take up and down when we want new racers.
You guys are in Minneapolis?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Suburbs or outside.
West.
You guys are only like 2 hours away from me then.
That's it. There's a bunch of photos and a video and different stuff.
Yep, there it is, MinneapolisSlotCarTrack.com. There's Steve's track. Whew, yeah. I'll put that link in the chat and the description and stuff so you guys can play around there.
Thanks,
That is a
Greg.
good looking track. That is a
Yeah,
good looking track.
Steve's got one area there that it's all the way down the end of that picture there, and then it takes a left-hand turn and then goes up a hill. And I can tell you, getting through that for the first time is pure hell. It's unbelievable. But once you get the rhythm of it, the whole track is just a fun thing to drive. It really is.
It's a hard track.
It is a hard track. Yep.
What
And
kind of track? Plastic track?
the first time I went over to Steve's was the first time that I had a slot car controller in my hand in 35 years.
Mhm.
And boy, it was unbelievable. But I didn't take long to the crew over there was giving me some tips, very friendly. And before long, I'd say about a half hour, I was keeping up with a couple of the good guys there. Yeah. That was fun.
Good stuff. I think that's probably a good note to end on. So I'll go ahead and hit the stop button and you guys can chat about whatever. But for now, we're done.